In post-war Japan, a case emerged from the shadows of a Tokyo maternity hospital and shook the entire nation. Miyuki Ishikawa was a respected midwife, with years of experience and a reputation built during a difficult period for the country, freshly emerged from the devastations of World War II. Birth rates were high and poverty widespread. In this context, Ishikawa worked at the Kotobuki Clinic, a center dedicated to supporting mothers and newborns in distress. Over the years, however, the staff began to notice an abnormal number of deaths among the infants entrusted to her care. The statistics did not lie. Hundreds of children had died under seemingly natural circumstances. But it was only in 1948 that authorities uncovered the horror hidden behind that facade of professionalism. Ishikawa, along with her husband and other collaborators, was responsible for the intentional deaths of at least 103 newborns. The babies were left to die through negligence, starvation, or abandonment, often with the implicit or explicit consent of their parents, who believed they could not financially support raising a child. According to investigators, Ishikawa acted believing she was performing a necessary deed, sparing future suffering. However, the collected evidence revealed a cold and systematic reality. Some parents paid money to have their children left to die, a fact that further worsened public opinion. The case exploded in national newspapers, shedding light not only on Ishikawa's actions, but also on the dramatic social conditions of post-war Japan. During the trial, the defense argued that Ishikawa acted out of necessity, but the court did not fully accept this line of reasoning. Initially sentenced to 8 years in prison, her sentence was later reduced to 4. Public opinion was deeply divided, with debates focusing mainly on poverty, access to healthcare, and the ethics of parental responsibility. Today, the Miyuki Ishikawa case is remembered as one of the most serious episodes of serial infanticide in Japanese history, still studied in criminology courses and sociological analyses of the post-war period. On July 25, 1998, during the traditional summer festival in the Sonobe district of Wakayama City, Japan, a large pot of curry was prepared for residents in a festive atmosphere. Shortly after the meal, dozens of people began feeling ill and within hours were urgently hospitalized with symptoms of poisoning. 4 of them, including 2 children, died. In total, more than 70 people were affected. Authorities immediately launched an investigation, focusing suspicion on Masumi Hayashi, a 37-year-old woman, mother of 4 and insurance agent, who was among the festival volunteers. It was noted that she was the only person present who had not tasted the curry and had been seen lurking near the pot shortly before the food was served. At her home, police found traces of arsenic identical to that used in the curry, the same type her husband kept for his pest control work. Investigators also discovered that Masumi was involved in a series of insurance fraud attempts, and that previously, some people close to her had suffered mysterious illnesses. The hypothesized motive was personal resentment toward neighbors and growing frustration with her position in the community, combined with a desire for revenge and control. During the trial, she pleaded innocent and never confessed to the crime. However, circumstantial evidence and chemical tests convinced the court to sentence her to death in 2002, a verdict confirmed on appeal in 2009. The case shocked Japanese public opinion and attracted international media attention. Following the case, similar crimes occurred nationwide, with reports of attempted poisonings in other regions. Masumi Hayashi remains on death row, having never shown remorse or changed her story. Her story continues to spark debate, with some believing the conviction was justified and others questioning the certainty of the evidence. In November 2014, Japanese police arrested Chisako Kakehi, a 67-year-old woman nicknamed the Black Widow by the media, accused of killing her husband and other men with whom she had romantic relationships. The case drew national and international attention due to the peculiar modus operandi and the increasing number of suspicious victims linked to her. Investigations revealed that Kakehi had begun dating elderly men, many wealthy, through matchmaking agencies, and that over about 10 years, several of these men died under similar circumstances, shortly after starting relationships or marrying her. Investigators connected at least 3 confirmed deaths to her name, including her last husband, Isao Kakehi, who died less than 2 months after the wedding. Autopsies and toxicology tests revealed cyanide in the victims' bodies, a lethal substance that Chisako allegedly administered secretly, often mixed into drinks. The suspected motive was clear: inheritance and insurance policies the victims had signed shortly before their deaths. It was estimated she had collected around 1 billion yen from insurance and other assets left by the victims. During the trial, Chisako initially denied all responsibility, but later changed her story multiple times, at one point claiming she acted out of love, and at another that she remembered nothing. Her inconsistent statements fueled the mystery around her. Her lawyers tried to raise doubts about her mental health and capacity to understand and intend, but the court ruled she was fit to stand trial. In 2017, the Kyoto court sentenced her to death for the murder of 3 men and the attempted murder of a 4th. The sentence was confirmed in 2021. Currently, Chisako Kakehi remains on death row in Japan, and her story has inspired numerous documentaries and criminological analyses due to the coldness of her actions and the complexity of her criminal path. In 1990s Japan, a woman named Sachiko Eto drew national attention when arrested for a series of murders committed within a cult setting. Also known as the Scissors Guru, Sachiko lived in Sukagawa City, Fukushima Prefecture, where she claimed to be a medium with spiritual powers to communicate with the dead. She gathered a group of devoted followers, many young and easily influenced or emotionally fragile. Over time, her small domestic cult turned into a closed, isolated, and dangerous environment. Between 1994 and 1995, at least 6 people died in her home during purification rituals, conducted by her and some group members. The rituals involved repeatedly striking the victims with sticks and other objects, sometimes dozens or hundreds of blows, with the declared intent of driving out evil spirits. The victims were followers themselves, accused by Ito of being possessed by negative entities or having lost spiritual purity. In one case, even Sachiko's daughter participated in the rituals, helping inflict fatal wounds. Bodies were often kept in the house for days, covered with sheets, while others continued living there as if nothing had happened. When the police intervened, they uncovered a chilling scene with human remains and shocking testimonies. During the trial, Sachiko Eto claimed she acted under spiritual messages received through visions and that the rituals were meant to save souls. The court rejected these explanations, considering the murders as expressions of manipulation, violence, and psychological control. In 2002, she was sentenced to death for her direct role in 5 of the 6 killings, while some followers received prison sentences. What made the case particularly shocking to the public was the use of faith as a tool of death, in a country where cult crimes had already left a deep mark with the 1995 sarin attack. Sachiko Eto was executed in 2012, and her name remains linked to one of the darkest and most disturbing cases in Japanese criminal history. In January 1985, a 32-year-old Japanese woman named Fumiko Kimura ventured into the cold Pacific Ocean near the Santa Monica Pier, carrying her 2 young children, Kazutaka, 4 years old, and Yuri, 6 months old. She walked into the water to a point where her intent became evident. The mother intended to end her life along with her children in a ritual known as Oyako Shinju, present in Japanese culture. Passers-by found her unconscious and pulled her ashore along with the children. Fumiko survived, but Kazutaka died a few hours later, and Yuri several days later after desperate surgery at a Los Angeles hospital. After the arrest, it emerged that the woman was deeply troubled by her husband's infidelity, which she learned about 10 days before the act, and by intense malaise due to homesickness and psychiatric disorders. Magistrates classified the event as voluntary, but the defense relied on a diagnosis of psychotic depression, supported by psychiatric consultations describing her mental state as less than rational at the time of the act. In October, Fumiko accepted a plea bargain without opposing the charges, reduced to 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. The process thus avoided a multiple murder conviction with potentially severe penalties. Under the legal agreement, she accepted a 5-year probation sentence, including 1 year already served in jail and mandatory psychiatric treatments in local healthcare facilities. At the trial, support from public opinion, especially from the Japanese American community, was considerable. Thousands of signatures were sent to the court asking for clemency, recognizing the cultural roots of the act. The motivations given by Fumiko Kimura, prepared in statements to investigators and social workers, highlighted a desire not to leave her children behind, fear of possible harm to them if they survived her, and the belief that she was acting out of distorted love and deep guilt. Fumiko Kimura's story remains an emblematic case where despair crosses cultural and legal boundaries, raising questions about individual responsibility and how suffering can drive people to extreme acts. Jung Yongshan, also known by her Japanese name Mie Taniguchi, is a Chinese woman who committed a double murder in Japan in 2006. Born in 1972, she moved to Japan in 1999 to marry a Japanese man and settle in Shiga Prefecture, near Tokyo. In February 2006, Zheng was part of a group of mothers who accompanied children to school every morning. On February 17th of that year, while transporting her daughter and two 5-year-old classmates, little Wakana Takatomo and the boy Jin Sano, Zheng suddenly deviated from the usual route and stopped in a remote, rarely frequented area. Using a sashimi knife about 20 centimeters long, she attacked the two children, stabbing the girl 19 times and the boy 13 times. After the attack, she abandoned the bodies on a rural road and in an irrigation canal, leaving them without aid. The victims were declared dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. Zheng was immediately arrested on the spot. She was in the car with her daughter and still possessed the knife used in the attack, a detail that confirmed her responsibility. During interrogation, Zheng stated that her daughter had been bullied by the two children, but did not provide further explanations about the motive. Japanese authorities, after a thorough investigation, declared her mentally unstable and incapable of understanding or controlling her actions at the time of the crime. In 2007, the court sentenced her to life imprisonment without parole. The case sparked a broad debate in Japan regarding mental health, child protection, and criminal responsibility. Zheng, who had adopted a Japanese name to integrate into society, became a tragic symbol of how personal difficulties and social pressures can lead to dramatic events. Her story remains one of the most well-known and discussed cases of family crime in contemporary Japan. Kanae Kojima, born in 1968 in Japan, was involved in a series of murders that took place between 2007 and 2009. Before the criminal events, she worked as a nurse, a position that allowed her to earn the trust of those around her. The victims were mainly men with whom Kojima had emotional or financial relationships, often promising marriage or financial help. Her technique consisted of poisoning the victims with toxic substances, including cyanide, administered covertly through food or drinks. 2 men died from poisoning, while a third was severely injured but survived. All the victims had direct ties to Kojima, who exploited their trust to carry out her plans. The police began investigating after the mysterious death of one victim and the emergency hospitalization of another, connecting the cases through the analysis of toxic residues found in the bodies and testimonies from people close to the victims. The thorough investigations led to Kojima's arrest in 2009, when sufficient evidence was collected to charge her. During interrogations, she tried to justify her actions with personal and financial reasons, but the evidence gathered, including testimonies and scientific analyses, confirmed her responsibility. The trial highlighted the planned use of poisons and Kojima's ability to manipulate people for economic gain, demonstrating a clear criminal strategy and meticulous preparation. During the hearings, details emerged about the intertwined relationships between Kojima and the victims, revealing that she often exploited emotional vulnerability to establish bonds useful for her purposes. Additionally, methods of hiding toxic substances and misleading initial investigations were examined. Sentenced to a severe penalty, the case ended with a verdict reflecting the gravity of the crimes committed and the modus operandi employed.